This video is made for adult collectors because you'd think being the samurai I would have hurt myself filming this video, but surprisingly I didn't. This video is about drift and all that, but I need to show you something cool that I got. It's too big. I got that. That is so cool. Easily my favorite bounty. Look at it. That is awesome. I love it. And when you spin the gear on the back, it does the thing. It does the thing. It's very cool. Okay, back to the actual thing. Age of Extinction Drift is a hard character to do in figure form because, like, what do you mean that becomes a Bugatti Veyron? Like, yeah, the wheels are there and the chest is there, but the rest of it is just a man. So getting transforming versions of this is tough, but they've been done before to varying degrees of success. This one, though, is super cool because, like, look at it. It looks spot on. Like, there's nothing I find off about this. Well, okay, maybe not nothing. They didn't get the Bugatti license because, haha, Volkswagen, from what I know, isn't the easiest company to work with. So instead, he's just running around with his name on his chest. And while that's actually very funny, I would have honestly rather it just be blank. This was sent over by Yolo Park. They have a wide range of Transformers on their site. They have this guy up for, I think, pre-order, at least at the time of me writing this. There's also plenty of other cool AMK Pro stuff like Prime from Age of Extinction to pair up with this figure. And if you use code TOYGUY, you'll save a few bucks off your order, though the Pro kits are excluded. So check them out, links in the description down below. Thank you for sponsoring this video. Now back to the actual toy. This is a pre-production sample. From what they tell me, this is one of the very first samples made, so while the deco, parts layout, and so on are final, the tolerances aren't. Though I have to say, if these are not final tolerances, then I think Yolo Park has learned a fair bit here, because, like, oh my god, there are no tolerance issues with this thing. Well, mostly. There's one, but I'll get to that later. He looks fantastic. I love the outlining they did on the armor pieces, and I adore the carbon fiber weave they got throughout the sky. It's on pretty much every blue panel, and it looks so good. You don't really notice it from far away, but up close, you get that nice fine detail going. And he's pretty damn hefty. He has a lot of die cast going on throughout. There is so much detail on display here, like picked out intricately throughout the entire figure, that you don't get bored looking at it. Though, there are some spots like the inner thighs here, where it looks like that weirdly flat sort of surface with just a little bit of detail sprinkled throughout that you get on some like third-party movie company toys. I adore the detail on the back here, the helicopter blades and the bits of car detail, like that asymmetric pipe on the back. That's a nice touch. And the asymmetry continues to the front with the arms. It's something you don't really notice that much in the film, but it's a very welcome detail. He comes with his swords, two large blades that can store on his back in a single scabbard, and while it's cool with the two blades in there and how it works is really neat, because of how it works though, if you add only one blade to the scabbard, it sort of just flops around. I kind of wish they clipped into their respective spots on either side. Head sculpt is nice. There is a lot of detail on display here with the lines and the beard. He's supposed to have light up eyes, but this is the only tolerance thing that feels pre-production on my copy. The head is so tightly put together, I can't actually get it apart to get the batteries in, and I don't want to break it, so it's stuck. He comes with a lot of extra hands. They are slightly, like ever so slightly smaller than the articulated ones, so they look a little bit more proportional to the robot body. And he's got a stand that plugs into the butt of the figure behind a little cover. It's the same sort of stand all the other AMK Pro kits have, but this time, because he's a smaller figure, the peg is smaller, so it isn't universal with the other AMK figures, if that's something that bothers you. His articulation is pretty good. However, there are like 2 to 3 spots where I think they could have seriously put more range into it, like way more. You know that feeling when you have to sneeze and like it just won't come out and you're trying for like 10-15 minutes and it just doesn't happen? I don't have it. Drift's articulation is insanely good, except for 2, maybe 3 spots, actually. I'm gonna add another one onto there. I was gonna say just 2, but there is a third thing I wish this did a little bit better. But like overall, this thing is fantastic, like on par with this guy who's gotten a little loose, but I can fix that. So the head is on a double ball joint, well, sort of. So there's a ball joint from the head going into the neck, and then the neck going into the torso. So you get quite a nice tilt and a nice like range there, and then you can rotate. I just wish it could look up more. That's my first sort of issue with this, is I really wish he could look up more than that. That's as far as it goes, and it's because of the helmet bumping into the collar in here. I kind of wish there was like maybe a bit more of a gap in there to fit this into it, or if this maybe shifted, because I believe on actual helmets like this, they would move back there so like the person could look up. I could be wrong, but I kind of wish that it did that, because that's as far as it looks up, and that's a tiny bit annoying. The shoulders there on a ball joint that goes in here, and then a butterfly hinge, and then a hinge right here. So you've got butterfly that can go that far forward, and that far back, and the shoulders can go out that far. But because the armor shifts, the shoulders can actually go out that far, which is very cool. I like the armor shifting thing. Then you have a bicep rotation. There is a double jointed elbow that bends about that far. There are a couple little gaps in like the mechanism of the armor shifting thing, which the armor shifting is cool, but if you don't like that, then that's a little bit frustrating for you. I don't really care that much. All of the wrists are on a ball joint, so they can do the whole wrist swivel rotation thing. These hands specifically have 2 fingers connected here, and then they're all connected at the base, and then the thumb is on a ball joint. Now, I wish that this could, it came off. I wish it could tilt. I wish the wrists could do this. They can't. And he's got swords, and I want them to point them forward, but that's as far forward as any of the hands go, really. And that's a tiny bit unfortunate. I really wish either there was a rocker inside here, or like there was a bit more space around the joint to allow you to point the hand forward. He does have waist rotation, however, it only goes that far either way. And that is honestly the last thing of the articulation that I don't like, is that the waist only goes that far either way. And it's the armor. It's bumping into all of this here, which looks really nice, but it doesn't move out of the way. None of this moves. So he does have that. You do have an ab crunch that crunches about that far forward. Could go a little bit further, but for me, that's pretty fine. And then the back does do the whole like back detail moving spine thing, which I think is neat. The hips, these are cool. So they only go forward about that far stock, right? Like without moving anything around, and they go back that far, and then they go out that far. That's not a lot. But he does have drop down hips, and the front armor can move all the way down. So the legs can actually kick that far forward, and then they can kick that far back, and then you have full splits. So I love all of this stuff that moves out of the way to accommodate the legs. Like these moving, I think is brilliant. He does have thigh rotation, though the sculpt does bump it into, you can't see any of that. The sculpt does bump it into the crotch a little bit there. So you get more of a thigh swivel if you extend it down, then you get the whole shebang. But if it's like up here, you don't get a whole lot. The knees do a full, I gotta pull them out of the way. The knees do a full bend. So you've got all that, and all of this moves up here, which I think is very cool. The only thing that doesn't go back into place is this bit. You just gotta do it manually. But he does have a full knee bend, which is awesome. And the wheel rotates. Watch the wheel. I love that. I love how it rotates part of the way through the knee bend. It just makes it feel a little bit more alive. And the ankles, they can go down that far. They can go up that far. You got some ankle tilt and some ankle rotation. These little like wheel bits at the back can move. However, when you move the foot all the way forward, they start to eat the armor bits, and then you limits the ankle tilt just ever so slightly. And then he's got toe bend, and then these bits can move as well. So extremely articulated thing. However, I just wish the wrists, the waist, and the head were a little bit better. These don't move. They don't do anything. The scabbard, when you plug it in, it's like a hexagonal peg. It's got this flat spot here, so when you plug it in, it sort of sits, but it does wiggle a little bit. So if you want to change like the angle of the swords, let's just get them in here. Come on, swords. If you want to change the angle of the scabbard, you can sort of, but I kind of like it like this because it just makes everything look a little bit more chaotic on his back, which I think looks neat. And then the stand is a bendy wire, so you can pretty much do whatever you want with that. I really enjoy this thing. It's quickly becoming my favorite Yolo Park figure to mess with, save for Last Night Optimus. For a pre-production sample, he's solid and sturdy, but he also just looks fantastic. Those blues really shine, and the whole thing looks like it's made out of metal. Like, they did that very well. I definitely recommend this thing if you want like a superposable drift. I just wish the waist, the head, and the wrists could do a little bit more. But that's my look at Yolo Park AMK Pro Drift. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.